And welcome back to Bitcoin Advisors channel. My name is Chris, bringing it to you here from Westlake Village, California. It is Tuesday, January 4th. Happy New Year, and I hope all is well. Wishing you a blessed and highly favored 2022. And I expect everybody is just getting back to work and back into the groove of normal life. And, good luck to everybody with that. I know today we have some very important things to talk about. Bitcoin is moving, and it's being rather boring. I mean, we're looking at the same thing we've been looking at over the last month. Bitcoin is traded in a range between 45,500 to the downside and 52,000 to the upside. And we've been following this and had a little bit of a fake out, right? We had this breakout of the ascending triangle, broke out to about 51.5, almost to 52,000. And we got rejected. So typically what happens, you buy the range, the wick highs, sell the wick highs and buy the wick lows. And that's what we're doing right now. And is it good to be testing the downside, the 45,500? No, but until it is broken officially on a daily, I'm looking for, more of the same, which we'll see here pretty soon. And we'll get into some immediate price action here shortly, but in about 5 minutes, you're going to know whether we are macro, bullish or bearish on Bitcoin. We're going to cover the short-term price action, like over the next 1 to 4 hours, the medium-term price action over the next 1 to 5 days, and our higher-term time frames, like over the next few weeks or months. And we're going to cover some altcoins like Luna, Matic, AVAX, Sand. We're going to take a look at the Ethereum Bitcoin pairing, NASDAQ and the dollar. So, get ready for a deep dive here today. And so, again, very interesting things going on. And just to kind of recap, again, we talked about this ascending triangle. And what happened here is the measure move was hit from here, almost to a T, right? And got rejected, and now we're playing off the low side of the range. And what we did say is we needed a daily closure above 52,000 to confirm, right, this ascending triangle, this falling channel, which is traditionally more likely to break to the upside. And I'd say, that is still going to be intact with any kind of a closure above 52,000. And vice versa to the downside. Whoops. Where did I have that trend line in? I don't know if it was there, but to the downside, I mean, that could get pretty nasty, but that would bring us to the bottom side of our weekly ascending triangle which we have been going over. And I'm just going to throw that up on a weekly, which, could still keep intact a higher low. No, we would not want any kind of a weekly closure. Actually, it's a daily closure. Let me see. It's a daily below that last weekly prior low at 38,070. Yep. So we don't want any daily closures below that level. And is it okay to get a wick down there in some kind of a buying opportunity? And why do I think that might, actually happen? It's completely fine for Bitcoin to test down there. We just don't want any closures below 37,860 on a daily time frame. And really on a weekly, I don't want to see this level get taken out, 42,500. Otherwise, I, would say that move likely gets tested somewhere in that region around 32 to 34,000. But I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here. I wanted to start off with the bad news, and I guess I got into it. For the bears, the leverage ratio right now is at 0.22%. It's the highest level ever. So open, the leverage in the market is extremely high. That means we're going to get a big volatile move. Doesn't tell us it's going to be to the upside or the downside. But in past iterations, the higher the leverage typically gets resolved to the downside. Open interest is at 13.38 billion. So now leverage is higher than open interest for the first time ever. And the fear and greed index stuck at a 23. And, you know, that's coming in right here. And we have been covering this, saying that for a macro low, we want to see, you know, the fear and greed index to trade anywhere, you know, between 20 and about 10 for a few weeks, maybe a few months. And that's typically when those macro low reads get put back in. Last iteration, July of 2021, I think Bitcoin just popped below 30,000 for a minute, scared everybody, and then was off to the races. Okay. So, and that's kind of another reason why I think, you know, another point for the bears, and, you know, maybe we get another buying opportunity, but is the wick fill here? Typically wicks like to get filled. We haven't fulfilled the wick on spot price action yet, which would bring the price down, you know, anywhere around 42,616. And that would be completely fine. You know, a bounce right around 42,616 in my book presents a decent opportunity if we see anything like we saw back here, right? We had 3 wicks down into the bottom, and if you, you know, sold the wick high and bought the wick low, probably didn't do too bad during that time frame. And I imagine something like this is very similar to happen here with Bitcoin. Okay, so what do we want to get in for the bulls? What's kind of the, you know, bullish news? Capital inflows typically happen this time of year. You get a general rise up in stocks, and, you know, the NASDAQ is, you know, grinding against all-time highs. And this is on a weekly time frame, but it's very, very typical in trading land that if you get just a tick below the last week's prior low, you get a test of the 9 exponential moving average. So that is completely fine. And then you've got the S&P just recovered. I mean, it's making new all-time highs almost. And then you got the Dow Jones making new all-time highs as we speak. So I'd say that's a point for the bulls. And then moving on to the dollar, and we did say, hey, we wanted to see the dollar close, you know, somewhere below this level last week on a daily, right? A daily closure below 95.50, and that would be good for, you know, good for Bitcoin, good for stocks. However, we're bouncing off that level, and you know, could we range a bit more? I mean, look, the dollar is in a macro uptrend on the weekly, making higher highs and higher lows. And on a monthly, right, it's making higher highs and higher lows. So that's bullish. And I would suspect the dollar over time, you know, heads back up to, you know, 96, 97, 98 cents, excuse me. We're already at 96. I mean, this looks like we're, you know, first target has already been met. Second target, let's see if I have these fibs lined up correctly here. But range high, range low, and first target here, boom. Typically second target gets hit. And that would actually, you know, significantly, I think, hurt gold, hurt stocks. So we kind of want this to reject here at this fib level, the 1618, and, you know, start ticking back below on the next. But as for now, the weekly, starting off the week pretty bullish. That's a point for the bears. Okay. And, you know, capital inflows, where did I hear that? On Bloomberg. I know that's just my opinion. Of course, this isn't financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, just kind of going over some of the underlying market dynamics. And, you know, we did say on Bitcoin that after that major correction, that it would take, you know, somewhere like 30 to 60 days for this correction to kind of fill itself out. And why is that? Well, if you look at these macro highs and these macro lows, they're very similar in days and time frames. I think this one is about 60 days versus 60 days, and 14 days versus 14 days, and 30 days versus 30 days, and that would look like something like that. That was a bad line. Let me retry that one. I'm not an artist, but let's say over 30 days, that would be something like this. Some kind of consolidation on the lows for 30 days, and then a break of the range gives us a crack back to the top side of the range. And then, how would we actually confirm this ascending triangle as valid? Is we need a weekly closure back above here. And that would look something like this. And forgive me, I'm drawing the best I can. Hopefully there's not too many lines in here. Maybe I'll take this off, and that didn't help us. We need the lines on there. But on a weekly, this is a massive ascending triangle. Typically, these are likely to break at about 75% full. Where is that coming in? I don't know where your measuring stick is, but that could be the end of January or somewhere in March, or, it could happen in May, right? We don't know when it's going to happen, but we have our levels and we have our invalidation point, and what we don't want to see is a weekly closure, I'd say below 40,000 for more conservative, depends on how aggressive you want to be. And then to the upside, weekly closure above 64,000, right? That very, very likely gives us a measure move way up here to visit somewhere around 87,000. And I'm going to hold with that stance until proven otherwise. And what else do I want to get down to? Some of the shorter term time frames here on a 4 hour, what's going on. Let's take a look at 4 hour CMEs here. And this is kind of a hope for the bulls. What we do have is potentially like 4 drives of bullish divergence. And what is that? So you can see prices making lower lows, while RSI, the relative strength index, is making higher lows. How would this be confirmed? So what we'd want to see is a test of the 9 here, and then, maybe it comes back down to 46,130. We close the day around there. And then we want to see the next 4 hour candle close above, really, 48,350. But what would probably do it for me is 47,500, and that would confirm, actually, technically speaking, I believe any kind of a closure above 46,800, if you're more aggressive, will confirm that bullish divergence and should give us a shot at least up to the top side of the range around 50,000. And that gives us the potential to bust through our 52,000 major level. Again, the major level is 52,000 to the upside, 45.5 to the downside. Nothing really matters until that happens. And wow, we got right down to 45,060. So holding on to its teeth right now, and you got very low volatility. We do have 4 hour Stokes that are going to cross up here with any kind of a closure, or they'll remain crossed up, with any kind of a closure, I believe, about 45,000. But let's keep a close eye on the 4 hour. What does it look like on an hourly? And you can see we do have, going all the way back here, it's like 5 drives of bullish divergence forming here as, okay, here's 1, confirmed, 2, confirmed, 3. How would we confirm this? On an hourly, a closure back above 46,755, and that would confirm this. RSI would regain the exponential, getting kicked out of the bearish control zone with expanding volatility, and then we'd want to see Stokes cross back up. Come on, we're talking about the last chance for glory. Bitcoin needs to pick itself up right now. Any kind of a rejection here, in my opinion, is just not going to look fun. It could be more sideways, and then, again, more potential to break the downside range. But what else I wanted to point out? Stokes on the daily CMEs. Another point, we had this kind of signature right here where we got down to an 11 percentile read. And typically, the last time this happened back in the last prior bear market, let's see. Let's go back and back test it. When's the last time we got the 11% read? Was it here? No, this is the last real iteration, or I would say right here. Let's see. Yeah, March of 2020. It's the same read right here. Call it a fractal, whatever you want to say. But, what I don't like about that is it's coming back down. So what else? Okay, what's another one right here? In December 2018, right? We get the 11% read, touched. There it is. That's a little bit more like what we're seeing right now. We touch the 11%, come back, touch, come back, finally get bullish, comes back down, tests it one more time around 13 percentile. What are we doing right now? And that was November 2018. Bitcoin's price, $3,500. So macro low at $3,500. And this very similar signature that we are seeing right now. And if I can zoom out really quick. What do we get? We get a test to 11%. Comes back up, rejects, tests again, 11%, comes back, and we're coming back down. So what we don't want to see is those Stokes to violate that 11% again. We want to see a bounce here very, very soon. That's on a daily. On a 12-hour, it looks like we're about to cross up. 4 hours already crossed up. 1 hour is crossed down. 2 hours crossing down, and 15s and 30s about to cross up. So a little bit of a bifurcated market right now on the shorter term time frame. So again, last point for the bears and why I think we could get that test down on a monthly time frame is this. I will take this off here, but typically you get a closure below the 9 exponential on volume, this kind of a candle. You've got Stokes are still crossed up, not crossed down yet, but you could get a test down to the 9 exponential. That's very common. And what would we be doing? We'd still be making higher lows on a monthly if we just got a wick down there. This was not a confirmed low, I would say. How would we confirm that as a higher low? So we would have had to take out this. No. So yeah. So how do you confirm a higher low? And it's very important to understand this concept. How would this be a higher low? Well, you'd have to have a lower high. Do we have a lower high here? No. No. We have a higher high. This is trend continuation. This is a signal of indecision and trend continuation. So how do you confirm this as a low? Well, you have to have a closure above the last high. And hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully that makes sense. I'll be putting out some more videos about how to identify trend here very soon. All right. Going forward and down along the ladder. Again, macro bullish news, capital inflows, open interest up, weekly trend still in place. We're about to see a big move, and, just want to be prepared as best we can. Now moving on to our altcoins. I'm going to start it out with Matic, which I have been, and here's what I don't like on Matic. What we did have is a tick below last week's low, okay? And typically that will get you a move down to the 9 exponential. However, I am still macro bullish on this asset. We just confirmed a breakout on this ascending triangle, and there is a measure move on this guy all the way up to about $3.08 at a minimum. I think you might be able to extend that target a bit, especially if Bitcoin gets a bounce here up to about 330. Now, what else did I want to touch on? We got Matic, we got Luna. And so here's what I would say on Matic to the downside. The daily is holding on by a thread, needs to hold 241 to the upside on the daily. Any kind of a daily closure back, I'd give it, 260 is going to look good for a bit of a reversal. Let's see if we have any divergences there. So are we making, no. So higher lows, and we'd expect lower lows on RSI, which you can see we are getting our first drive of bullish divergence, and that would be confirmed with a closure back above here, $2.57. So again, that's kind of the daily range for our Matic here. And then moving on to Luna. Luna, again, holding on to a thread here, getting a test of the 21. That's typically a buy. And I'd say Luna, as long as Luna holds above 80 bucks, I'm still bullish on a daily. On a 4-hour, however, looks like we are getting a little bit of a reversal, which was that actually a low? How would we confirm that? This as a low, open and a closure above the last high. Yeah, I mean, looks like a little bit of a lower low and a lower high. Could be a trend reversal. I want to see this one close back above 90 cents to even get remotely bullish. We do want to see that here sooner than later, alongside with Bitcoin bouncing here, which I'm a little bit more on the side of the bulls for a bounce first. Yeah, so why don't we move this for Luna and say on a 4-hour back above 93 and below. Shoot, on a 4-hour, I mean, really, this guy's got a hold right here, I think. This thing's going to be volatile, guys. Extremely volatile, but the macro trend, this is the macro trend. This is the macro trend, right? For weeks and weeks and weeks, higher lows and higher highs. Can it come back down? Yes, absolutely. But Luna's absolutely been on fire. Axie Infinity, one of the gaming coins, needs to hold this area on a weekly, or I'll expect to move down to 62 bucks. And but other than that, Axie's been incredible this year, and could easily come back down to 50 bucks. But any kind of a weekly closure back above 160, and you're going to get a mate. Let's see what the move would be right now on a bullish retracement. It'd be something like something like 267. So this one just went on some all-time highs. Going to do whatever Bitcoin does, most likely. Actually, I shouldn't say that. This one's diverged against Bitcoin plenty of times last year. You can see in July, it was at $4, and by August, ran to 23. I mean, let's see, March, April. What did Bitcoin do in March and April? We know what it did in May. So March and April, Bitcoin is trading sideways, and Axie did like a, went from March and April last year. Yeah, it went from $1 to 90 to $9. Sorry. So a 9x, right? And then it just completely outperformed Bitcoin. So are we going to get another gaming boom? I don't know, but I want to keep an eye on this one to maybe be able to look at some other gaming coins because Axie's already had a tremendous run. So, that's all I'll say for that. What else I want to look at? Avalanche, again, kind of doing the same thing, testing the 9. As long as Avalanche is above, 100 and call it $98, I'm okay. Any kind of a daily closure, daily closure below $100, not good, right? Above 125, this thing going to take off. Below 97, probably heads towards at least 76, maybe even $68. However, do I think that's what's happening? No, I don't. And moving on to Sand, another one that has been, pretty popular. Had a nice little bounce over the holidays, and the question is it going to pick itself up from here? I think this one does whatever Bitcoin does. So let's keep an eye on this one. But on a daily, what do I need to see to get bullish again? Yeah, basically a daily closure above 675. I'm going to get bullish. And really a daily closure below here at, call it this wick low. And should get a move down to the green 55. If you wanted to front run it, you already got a closure below the yellow 21. So I do think that could test right there and be completely fine. I'll still be, overall bullish on this one. Let's see on a weekly. Yeah, test down to $5.13, completely fine. Just want to see it bounce from there. Other than that, I think we covered everything, guys. What is gold doing? Should we look at our gold coins? Gold. Oh, there she is. So gold, did we look at the dollar as well? So let's just look at gold on a weekly time frame, and gold is kind of trading sideways here, and I'd say any kind of a weekly closure. So gold, this one's pretty sideways, and with the dollar going up, and the just overall trend of down, I mean, we got, lower highs and lower lows, and we haven't had a higher high yet. So what I want to see is a daily or a weekly closure back above 1916 to get our first higher high, and then maybe another higher low, and the dollar to come back down. That's the key. So we'll be keeping a close eye on that. Hopefully that brought, this kind of deep dive into where the market is at helped. Again, on Bitcoin, just wrapping it up here on the daily time frame, we are looking at these levels for CME. Let's look at the CME chart because it's just easier to look at, more clear, cut and dry. And that is 52,000, call it 52,000 to the upside, and 44,500 to the downside. Or should I raise that up? 45.5. I'd be more comfortable with saying 45.5 right there, or 45,000, somewhere around that. Yeah. So 45.5 to the downside, 52,500 to the upside. The same range we've been looking at for quite some time. And with volatility this low, I am expecting some kind of explosive move. The last move here was to the downside. The last move here was to the upside. And this one back here in October 2020 was definitely to the upside as well. So you can get some massive moves when the volatility is low. What's guaranteed to happen next? In Bitcoin land, volatility is coming soon. Do we get it to the upside or to the downside? We'll be following along in our channel. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. Take care.